Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Thursday.
In the wilds of the hockey stands, another legend has appeared anonymously at an Oilers playoff game. No, this time not a pretty girl with a great smile and great abilities to fire up the crowd around her and the entire internet with it. This time it's a fan in the stands chugging what appears to be beer out of his prosthetic leg, and the people loved it. I mean, you know, that's at least what I can infer from the video that got posted to Reddit. Yeah, and then high fives abound. That's just what has to be done. I love it so much. And people asking, who is this legend? Hey, it doesn't matter. They can keep their anonymity. That's totally fine. We'll just absolutely hold them up as a legend in our hearts nonetheless.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
Just a couple stories for this morning. Mike Portnoy is speaking out in a little bit of concern for the stability of his job as a drummer, talking about high-profile drummers getting ousted of late. He says, nobody is safe. I'm scared for my life and career. I mean, I have to probably imagine he means lifestyle. I don't think he's going to lose his life if he were to, lose the ability to play drums with somebody. He's from Dream Theater, of course, but he's talking about Josh Freese being let go from the Foo Fighters after taking over for Taylor Hawkins, and Zach Starkey's exit from The Who. Who I guess is saying he got fired. The Who saying he was retired, but I tend to think it was probably the one that starts with the F. In other news, Bono is getting behind Bruce Springsteen, and it's all in this political stance against the administration that is in power down south. And just, it's gotten kind of to a fever pitch. I mean, Bruce, to argue that he doesn't love America is kind of a hilarious statement to try and get behind. But speaking of get behind, as soon as Bono is in your corner, you have to start to question some things. It's like maybe go over here, Bono. That's okay. Don't bring the heat. That's fine.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
We're talking about the village of Blatten in Switzerland. Maybe there's a proper way of saying that with the local accent, but that's what it reads as to me. It got almost entirely destroyed after a collapsed glacier rolled down a mountain. Just absolutely wild. And I was reading about another Swiss village that 2 years ago was basically evacuated for concerns of a rock slide, a landslide of some kind. And it hasn't happened, but that was 2 years ago, and they still haven't been able to return on full-time basis because of the danger they're in. And thankfully, people were evacuated from Blatten before anything happened. But it got me thinking about the notable rock slides in Canada's history, including the most deadly over a century ago when approximately 90 people died in Frank in what is now Alberta but was part of the Northwest Territories then. There was also the Hope Slide in BC in 1965, where 4 people died in the Cascade Mountains. And then one of the largest landslides happened in 2010 at Mount Meager, BC. Thankfully, it was so remote that while it did destroy bridges and things, there were no fatalities whatsoever, no injuries. But it was so big that it registered seismic waves more than 2,000 kilometers away in both Alaska and Washington State. That's wild. There was an incident at a bank in Calgary where somebody was arrested due to, reports of a weapon inside. It was a lighter. It was a gun-shaped lighter. So, breaking down the facts. And again, I can't speculate as to any reason for why this individual would have been doing so. But yes, somebody decided that it was a good idea to enter a bank with a lighter on their person that was shaped in the obvious representation of a firearm, of a gun, a handgun. Like, what? Why? Dozens of police vehicles converged. They took the man into custody. He got into a vehicle outside, I guess, and I can't get my brain around it. Boggling me just a little bit, like somebody, or at least some voice in his head, didn't go, you know what? Maybe I need to do my banking later. I just got this cool new gun down the street at the convenience store, this little lighter thing. My friends are going to love it, but maybe right now is not the time to take out $20 cash. It's just not the best plan. I mean, certainly we hope that there was nothing nefarious behind it in his head. I feel like kind of just a stupid mistake.
Friday.
Talented actor and the reason for thousands of sprained necks. Sydney Sweeney has teamed up with internet soap company, the brand Dr. Squatch, to sell soap made from her bathwater. I mean, that's really all I need to say. I could end it right there, but to give a little bit more, she did work with them before, just as the figure, the talent in an ad where she was in a bath, very Margot Robbie explaining things in Big Short, I think it was. And yeah, very similar like vibes to that, and people responded very specifically to her saying the words, dirty little boy. Yeah, so people were going, hey, what about that bathwater? Can I have some of that? Can you sell it? I would buy it. You want to give me? And apparently she was naive to this particular, I guess, section of the internet until that ad arrived last fall, and now she is all too aware. But now, maybe reacting in a very business-savvy way. Now, I can't say I hate the idea of the average male Sydney Sweeney fan using some soap that may or may not actually have like a few droplets of her used dirty bathwater infused into it. So I have to say, I'm all for it. I hope they set up a booth at every nerd convention on the continent, make that bank, and freshen things up for everyone. Dave Mustaine is sustaining his vitriol and the sort of bad blood, the weird kind of on and off again negative relationship he has with Metallica. Of course, they've got some history, but now he's saying that Metallica, post-Mustaine, stole the riff for Enter Sandman from another group. And specifically saying you need to go and look up the band Excel right now, spelled just like the Microsoft program. Of course, he was a part of the band in the 80s, and then, of course, is accusing of copying other metal bands. This appeared on part of the Sean Ryan Show, I guess, some podcast, something like that. And, it says that Enter Sandman, the 1989 track, is actually a lot closer to tapping into the emotional void than people realize. Although a lot have said in the past that they've heard similarities, but it's not that close. I haven't dived into it myself. Haven't done the investigation. Also, Muse is going to be replacing Kings of Leon, apparently. Caleb Followill had to cancel several shows due to what is being described as a freak accident, though not really sure if anybody is injured or anything like that, but this is at the Mad Cool Festival in 2025 in Madrid, so a long ways away. Good thing Muse was around to pick up the slack on this one. That's it for your music news this morning.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
I am a fiend for donuts. Love them. I've met a few, sure, that I haven't liked in my life, but that number is quite small. And we've got a lot of great ones available in our community. Don't get me wrong, but I just got excited about Calgary getting a full Krispy Kreme location. It's going to open up in just days, and not just a donut shop, but one with the fully visible donut theater on display. If you haven't heard of how Krispy Kreme does this, they have the whole sort of factory process, showing the delicious way of bringing these sweet treats into reality. It's bucket list stuff for me, and I need to visit, and there's kind of a reason why. It's kind of fulfilling a wrong from my history, the lore of myself, lore of Steve. I attempted to do this years ago during my first trip to the States, because Krispy Kreme largely like a United States kind of brand, and not really that readily available, especially in the west of Canada, but in the midst of the touristy stuff, as we were doing a visit to see family in San Francisco, Alcatraz, Lombard Street, Fisherman's Wharf, all that stuff, I did make it my mission to find the nearby Krispy Kreme location. And I mean, this is pre, cell phones where everything is available in an app. Like, this was printed out maps from MapQuest kind of era. And I found the location, except I couldn't find the donuts. I was searching around. I was going, I'm here. This is the spot. This is the address. This is the corner. Where is the Krispy Kreme shop? Where's the location? And hopefully it's one of these big ones. Turns out it was a daily restocked shelf. It was nothing. Like, my girlfriend said, oh yeah, remember that kiosk? I'm like, you weren't there. It wasn't a kiosk. It was nothing more than a hutch. It was a cabinet with donuts in it that they only came by once a day to try and refill. It was not the full experience by a long shot, but we did get donuts and they were delicious.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.